Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever your preferred, whatever your actual time zone is. How are you guys doing? You guys doing okay? Let's see. I think people are sleepy this morning. It's all right. It does, what day is it? Is it Monday again? Because I've been in like lockdown for a while now. So, hello, Mr. Shadow Kitty. So, it's just been a hot mess in the U.S., hasn't it? It's just been a hot mess. There's so much to talk about. We're going to talk about today, I believe is Dr. Rashid Butter or Buttar. I'm not certain how to pronounce his name. I guess I should have looked that up before I went live. So that is my fault on that. Let me switch glasses because this one has a glare in it. I'm like Mr. Rogers except with glasses. All right, there we go. The other one has a glare, so it's like gets really bad. All righty. I don't know why. So yeah, you're welcome, Amiga Nuts. So who have we got in the chat today? We've got Amiga Nuts. We've got Michael Roble. We have Christina Rain. Mr. Shadow Kitty. Yeah, so Amiga Nuts, I don't know why it kept hiding your comments. I have no idea why. So I just gave you mods, so that should solve that. Sometimes the powers that be in YouTube are just nuts. I quit trying. Hello, Matt Albrecht. How are you? So we're having a coffee chat today, and with me is Nina, the science doggo, who's the size of a shoe, a man's shoe. You say hi, Neener. I call her Neener. Her name is Nina. We give our dogs names, and she came with that name. We give our dogs names, but we don't use their names. We call them something else. So I call her Neener, or Neen, the Neen. So I call her Neener, or the Neen. She likes head pats. Anyway, so welcome to the show. So there's lots of different things we're going to talk about, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dr. Buttar. I'm just gonna call him Dr. Rashid. All right, so I don't think you're familiar with him, but if you want to check him out, he's a huge conspiracy theorist. He's anti-vax. He's a massive conspiracy theorist. He has a huge following, so I figured gone after David Wolf, Deepak Chopra, gone after him, John Edwards. I briefly had an exchange, not even an exchange, with Rubin Report. He blocked me after one tweet. Does not take criticism well. I've been blocked by, like I said, David Wolf. PETA has blocked me. John Edwards, the psychic medium. Stefan Molyneux. He ran away from a debate offer. He said, watch some of my videos. I said, I'll watch your videos if you debate me on it, if we have a discussion about it. And he bravely ran away, and now after losing his platform on YouTube, I believe he lost his platform on YouTube, and then he lost his MailChimp, and then he lost his Twitter account. So, poor Stefan. Well, now I'm going to talk about Rashid, Dr. Rashid. I've watched some of his videos, and we're gonna go through a few of these. He implements a lot of the different things that draw people in. I've talked actively a lot about, and wording is hard today, guys. See, here's Scientist Mel, the academic scientist person with a publication, and sometimes words don't work so great for the mouthpiece thingy. So even I can stumble over my own words sometimes, even though most of the time I'm eloquent and, articulate and stuff. There are just some days that my brain and my mouth are not connected. And so it's like I have these thoughts, and then it's like I've got to say these words, and then boom, it didn't happen. Good morning, Nether. All right, guys, I need to update your points. I see Nether, I'm like, points. Yeah. I am updating points on Streamlabs. I'm hoping at the end of this month to announce the winner of the t-shirt. Wait, is it a t-shirt? No, it's a coffee mug. It's a coffee mug. Yeah, it is a t-shirt, isn't it? I think. No. It's a coffee mug, a limited edition postcard with a note from me, and something from my background. That's being given away at the end of this month for the person with the most Streamlabs points. If you've already won a thing recently, I want to set you aside as in the winner's circle for a while so we can give other people an opportunity to get the stuff and things. All right, so that's awesome. So I will be updating the points from the last game that we had when we were playing. I think it was 9,000 points that for everybody who was playing. So keep that in mind. I haven't updated it, so if you check your points, add 9,000 to that. Okay. All right. So because I've been like really just I've been very busy. I've been very busy. Alrighty. Yeah, so we're talking about one of these. Now, just as a heads up, a little bit of admin. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central, Nervardia is going to be on the show. We are going to dissect and rip apart the second half of a PragerU video because they had another hack. And I posted a bit about it on my Twitter and, put a link there. Let's have a look at that particular. Okay, so here. All right. Let's see. Let me pull this up. So if you haven't had a chance to watch this, this is on Nervardia's channel. And it might get pulled soon because apparently PragerU is like, we can't possibly be, criticized in any capacity whatsoever. So, and I don't know what's going on with this, but if you haven't checked it out.
Yesterday came out and said.
Okay, sorry. So let's have a look, just a little brief look at this. And this is on Nervardia's channel, and she'll be on the show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. So I hopped over on her channel a couple of days ago, and there's a video from PragerU about what's causing the spike in COVID-19 cases. Here's another guy that's on my list now, guys. So we'll be talking about
not
him.
for today. Today we are going to talk about why PragerU is wrong about COVID-19. And there's multiple reasons why they are wrong.
Okay, so this video that we were going through is about 22 minutes long. We got through about half of it, but there was an hour and a half worth of correction in the first 11 minutes. So this is another Dr. B. So I've posted a bit about this on Twitter. I think Amiga Nuts, you were in that chat if you want to post a link for that for the folks at home who didn't get to check it out. Please do have a look at that. And she'll be back here and we'll be talking about the second half, which has a lot of wrongness too. So it'll probably be a funny show. It'll be funny. It'll be a little bit making it, you might want to put your head through the wall a little bit with some of the horrible garbage that this guy spews, not sputes. Say words, guys. So spews. So a lot of the horrible garbage that this guy spews is just, it's terrible. let's see. I can't even remember his name. That's how, he's not forgettable. He's pretty, here he is doing a test. He misrepresents antibody tests. Doctor, it starts with a B. I don't care. I'll talk about him more tomorrow. But yes, do check out Nervardia and her stuff. Dr. Barkey, that's his name. Dr. Barkey or Dr. Bark. It's Barke. I tagged him for that video on Twitter, so we'll see what he has to say about that. Alrighty. Okay. So let me catch up on the chat. Oh, the t-shirt hasn't arrived yet? Okay. I will check with the company and see where it is. Nether, thank you for giving me a heads up on that. All right, and thanks for the link, Amiga Nuts, for Nervardia. Oh, God. Prager Poo is what I call them. I call them Prager Poo. And Dr. Barkey is just terrible, terrible, terrible. Oh, God. It does take orders of magnitude. So, good morning, Michael Westby. How are you doing? All right, so let's talk a little bit about Dr. Rashid Butter. Buttar. I'm not certain, and I really need to get names right, and that's a problem I have, and I need to work on that better, and I recognize it. Okay, so he is an osteopath. Osteopath individuals don't really do a whole, I mean, they can, some can prescribe medications, but most of the time they're kind of like chiropractors. They believe in squeezing and pushing and correcting alignments in order to fix your sickness. So that's what his doctorate is in. And he's been featured, you notice, what's the thing that he has? Look at me, I'm on all these TV shows. I mean, look at these TV shows I'm on. I've been on ESPN, the Wall Street Journal. I've been featured in that, that magazine. I've been on Fox News. Boy, that's a winner, isn't it? That's probably where a lot of his viewership comes from, honestly. I've been on NBC. So he's like, look at all of the stuff I've been on, So let's talk a bit about this. So I've brought this up before on my channel about how is it that individuals fall for this stuff. He is a person who hasn't gone full face first into the vat of Kool-Aid that, he's selling here. Toxic Kool-Aid at that. It's like, how can people fall for this? Well, the first thing he does, look at this. He's like, I've been featured on all of these things. This allows him some kind of credibility. Anytime we, or the media, puts somebody on their show, like Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, all of these different people, they put them on TV. They're allowing him some kind of credibility. The Neen is suddenly interested. The Nina. She is suddenly, it looks like she's a hobbit, it's like we got a little bit of, no, she's like literally right here. She's tiny. Anywho, so the first thing they do is they try to establish some kind of credibility. He's got a doctor in front of his name. So that means he's got a doctorate in something. Well, you can get a doctorate in all kinds of things. His happens to be in osteopathy, which isn't really medicine. It's, I'm going to squeeze your muscles and you're going to get better because I'm squeezing them. A clown in many circuses is no less a clown. True. So one of the things that he does here is he has to establish some kind of authority. And he's wearing his scrubs, it looks like, and he's got his lab coat, and he's like, oh, so he's like he's a proper doctor. So that's one thing that they do. And we'll watch some of his stuff here in a second. If you haven't checked it out, my website, scientistmel.com/articles. I'm going to pull this up for you so you can have a look. I've written extensively about this sort of thing, and I've got citations within, if this ever loads. Resolving host. Here we go. All right, so I've got a portion of my website. I've got all the articles that I've written. And one of the things that I've written is on science, communication, language, and perception. How is it that people like this get away with what they do? So if you click in, you can, let me put this in the side chat if you want. If you click on the link, you can kind of see, put that over here. You can see some of the research on the, here, I've gotten the hyperlinks here. You can see some of this. Let's just refer to him as Dr. Butt. Fair enough, Michael Roval. I have different links to studies associated with this. But here are some highlights. Let me just kind of pull this up. Now, we got some science on what Dr. Butt does, right? People impressed by profound statements have low intelligence. So the pictures of, scenery with a profound statement where it's like Deepak Chopra, that there's like a Chopra bot, right? People impressed by it tend to have low intelligence. And so the lower intelligence tend to be more susceptible, but at the same time, that puts them in a higher risk, group to be preyed upon by people such as Dr. Butt. Hearing smart language has an influence over reading smart language. So what does Dr. Butt do? Yes. Okay. So Dr. Butt has a lot of videos. He has a lot of videos. You can go on his Twitter. The Autism Lie, that's putting kids at risk. The Red Pill podcast. He's been on the Red Pill podcast. So urgent within the next few weeks. He's using something called sensationalized headlines that play upon your emotions. That's another thing they do. But he primarily speaks to people through videos. And he'll use some sciencey sounding language in order to establish that, yes, I have authority here. So if you're hearing smart language, that's more of an influence over you than just reading it. Language can also alter perception. And accents play a role as well. Accents that are different from your own can alter perception of the images that you see. Plain language can clear up misconceptions. There's also confirmation bias. There's stuff on that, ignoring facts, and how facts can backfire through cognitive dissonance. So how we present information as people on the media or, Dr. Butt, that sort of thing, that can play. Are you screaming at me, Neen? All right, come here. She's like having an attack or something. Okay, Neen, it's going to be all right. It's okay. Okay. So she's going to sit in my lap for a bit. Anywho, so how we, present information is extremely important depending on what the goal is. So I kind of just point out here, needless to say, how content is presented to individuals of whom you are trying to inform can easily go one way or another. People can and do believe profound BS if they lack the ability to detect said BS. Using scientific terminology gives credibility to individuals even if words are misused, and at the same time, too much difficult technical verbiage can dissuade people from listening. So Dr. Butt implements a lot of that into his videos. He'll He's established that he's an authority with the doctor. He's giving himself some credence and some credibility by showing he's been on lots of different things, including being in magazines. See, look, all of these media people report on me. He could have just like been on the show and talking about how butter tastes great on toast, and he can post it as him being featured in one of those things. So that's kind of what the foundation, what we start with on this as we're picking this apart. All right. Let's see. I'm catching up on the chat. Throw in a little Dunning-Kruger. Yes. Wondering if no sign of it here. Yes. Nether told me that you guys had not gotten your t-shirts yet. So I will check on it on Monday and see if I can get an update on an ETA for you guys. So that'll be cool. All right. Thank you so much for the update. I think the coronavirus with that particular company, I'm not actually able to make any. I can make t-shirts and have them send it, but they're so behind on stuff because of the pandemic. With, I guess, lack of warehouse workers, that might be part of it. So thank you for giving me that update. All right, Neen, I'm going to put you back here. And you can calm down now. Okay. She just freaks out sometimes. All right. The science-y to my vocabulary. Science-y sounding words, yes. It might take longer. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know. I will check on that on Monday. And I'll be able to tell you guys once I hear. So thank you for that. Okay. And I will be updating points. I've been a bit behind on that. I still got it written down in my book. 9,000 points for the people who were here playing the game last time. And you get points just by watching the show, by the way, and interacting and typing and stuff. Okay. All right, so let's watch one of these videos. Let's first kind of go through one about masks. Okay, let's watch
I'm going to challenge you to ask the question, why? Why is this being censored? Why is it that I have to wear a mask into the restaurant, but then I can take it off when I'm sitting at the table? And then when you eat something, you lift up the face mask, and when the virus says, "Oh, wait a second, they're eating." When they're eating, we don't touch them. But then when they stop and put the mask.
I meant to put this over on the other thing. Let me pull him up. So let's see. Let me pull this up on another thing.
I'm going to challenge you.
Okay, here we go. This is better. All right. Let's have a look at this. So, what face masks actually do to your health? So, the title of it on his YouTube is all caps. We've seen that before with some other people, haven't we? We've seen the all caps thing. What face masks actually do to your health. And so he goes through.
Ask the question, why?
So what's interesting is he's playing a little bit. Ask the question, why? It's good to question, right? And we hear that a lot. And it puts responsibility on the viewer to go, you know what? I should ask this question, why? Let's see what he has to say. And so
you lift up the face mask, and what the virus says,
okay, so we were about.
And then when you eat something, you lift up the face mask, and what the virus says, wait a second, they're eating. When they're eating, we don't touch them. But then when they stop and put the mask on, then we can start our assault again. I mean, as much as I'd like to think that this is a highly sophisticated virus that knows, okay, I can't go into churches because churches are protected, but I am going to go into businesses or a business meeting because it's. I can go in and do all the damage I want, but I'm not going to go into a liquor store, and that person can go into a liquor store. I can go into it. The virus is going to go into the church.
Okay, he's just kind of rambling here. So he's using a lot of different emotive type of things going, and he's playing on when he talked about, okay, I go to the restaurants, but I have to pull my mask down to eat and drink something. So what's the point? He's bringing up church, and he's bringing up, well, we go to the liquor store and stuff like that, but they don't want us going to church. And so he's playing on a lot of the different things associated, particularly with Americans. He's not, his audience isn't Europe. His audience isn't anywhere overseas. His audience is the U.S. And so he's using a lot of different things to kind of target those individuals who would buy into that, the religious individuals who feel like they need church. And so he's playing on those things. He's like, okay, who can I play on? What can I go for? Oh, well, the church people, particularly in the South, they don't really do liquor and stuff like that. So let's kind of bring that up. And they go, but they don't want you to go to church. And so he's playing on all of that, even though he's presenting it as, here's all these things that are going on. He's piecing it together in such a way to where it's going to be appealing to certain individuals. And those particular individuals are going to be higher risk for that sort of thing because of the fact, we do have a science literacy crisis in the U.S. And one of the things that make individuals like Dr. Butt, he makes me so mad, Dr. Butt particularly lethal, is the fact that he knows this. He knows that there's a science literacy issue. And I'm not entirely certain he believes everything that he's selling here. All right. Americans. Let's listen a bit more.
Cause mayhem. That's why people can't congregate. But in the liquor store, virus is, totally a non-issue. Why is it that the virus...
Okay, in the liquor stores, the virus is totally a non-issue. That's not true at all. Okay? He's like, they don't want us to go to church, but it's completely fine for us to go to the liquor store. Listen to this guy. He's playing on the emotions and the appeal of people. You're like, you know what? That's right. They're not, they can go to the liquor store and get alcohol and get hammered if they want to, but they're not allowed to go see Jesus? Oh my gosh. So that's the natural flow of thought. And he's playing on this. He's using that people's religion and their beliefs and that sort of thing to harm them. Why is it that the virus is an issue for me to get on the plane? Well, he says that. And you shouldn't be flying right now in the U.S. unless you absolutely have to. You really, really shouldn't. I'd say rent a car and drive. You're safer that way, particularly with this pandemic. But listen to what he has to say. So this is the question. Why is it that the virus is an issue for me to get on the plane? Let's listen. Let me see. Is this turned up all the way? No. Let me turn this up all the way.
For me to get on the plane, but then when I'm there, I can take it off or I can lift it up and drink water. Why is it that I have to maintain social distancing 6 feet apart when I'm boarding the plane, but then I'm sitting right next to the person, like not even 6 inches away? Does that make any sense for the next 4 freaking hours? So this
Okay. All right. So listen to this. Okay. He's right. This doesn't make sense for anybody to be on a plane, but he's still using that. He's like, well, we're flying, aren't we? Everything's fine with that. I have to wear a mask. And when you get on the plane, you're supposed to continue to wear your mask. And he's like, but you got to lift it up in order to drink, and you got to lift it up in order to eat something, and you're really close to people. Well, that's the fault of the airlines. Okay? Okay, I'm going to let you hop down, Neener, and let you run around somewhere, because you sound like you're having a hard time. Okay. She wanted down. No, Nope. Nope. She's wanting to dig around in some things. Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. Alrighty. Sorry. All right, I think she's okay now. All right, so, anywho, animals on live streams. You never know what's going to happen. It's wild. All right, so, but see, that's the thing. Airlines are not social distancing. They are contributing largely to the problem, and they're not doing much about that. So they're not following the guidelines at all. They're pretty packed, and so that is a real problem. So that's probably the only correct thing he says here so far. Let me catch up on the chat really quickly. Certain individuals, you mean Fox News viewers? Possibly. Religious individuals like authority figures, it's in their books. Yes, to a degree, but it depends on who it is. There are certain religious individuals who do not recognize scientists. To me, he sounds like Joel Osteen and Kenneth Copeland. Yeah, he does. He's selling some stuff. And he does use this to his advantage. That's clearly the case here. So let's listen a bit longer.
Absurdity on top of absurdity on top of absurdity.
No, share.
So
There's the call to
how long are you going
action.
to allow idiocy to continue? And when somebody tells you to wear a face mask, you need to tell them to back the hell up. If you're stupid enough to wear a face mask, then you wear a face mask.
But he doesn't talk about, okay, so he's like, if you're stupid enough to wear a face mask, then you wear a face mask. So first, he draws you in with the emotion saying, you can go to the liquor store, but you can't go to church. You get on the airplane and these people are eating and drinking. You go to a cafe, they're eating and they're pulling down their mask. What's the point of the mask? So he's going through all of this, playing on the emotions of other people and their perceived need to be in church. And like, well, you should be allowed to go to church. Look what they're doing on airplanes. What they're doing on airplanes is not okay. And it doesn't mean that because they're doing this on airplanes, that this somehow translates to every single situation we should be doing this. But if you're hearing what you want to hear, confirmation bias, if you're hearing what you want to hear, and you have somebody who's an authority figure saying words that sound like they make sense, you're going to tune out a little bit of the knowledge and the information associated with what would be accurate and correct. So, let's see. Let's kind of go on a bit.
But I am not going to partake in your idiocy. Just because you're stupid, that doesn't make it an obligation on my part to follow in your stupidity and hurt myself.
Okay, so here is somebody presenting themselves as a medical professional saying masks are harmful. He's going through, why are you wearing them? They don't wear them here. They don't wear them there. They're, we're allowed to go to liquor stores, but we can't go to church. Look in here. So he's preying on that. Then there's a call to action. Like, share. Please share this as much as possible. He's got high production value with these different individuals walking around without masks. They look like professionals. So that's kind of reinforcing this idea that, hey, smart people and these professional individuals aren't wearing masks. I shouldn't have to wear masks. Look at these neat little, young people or these other people walking around. So it's a highly stylized video. But when you're going and you're breaking it all down, these are all of the different things that are in play here. So let's see.
Remember this. If you wear a face mask, you are restricting your oxygen. You are increasing the amount of carbon dioxide that you're breathing back. The face mask.
Okay. Let's address this for a second. Okay, here's just a teeny tiny little bit of chemistry. All right. Oxygen molecules. Let me see. What we got? I got a whiteboard. Let's see. I'm going to get my whiteboard out. This guy's making me mad. All right. So he says oxygen. Okay, your oxygen molecules, in the atomic form, it's O2. 2 atoms of oxygen. And you know what? I don't even need to do this. I don't even need to draw this out for you. All right, you're talking about 2 atoms of oxygen together. 2 atoms. Two atoms, atomic level size. You can't even see it with a microscope. I mean, we have ways to detect different chemicals. We have spectroscopy, we have that sort of thing. We have different ways that we can detect atoms, but you're talking about 2 atoms attached together. That's really small. That's really, really small. And it's small enough for it to pass through your mask. Okay, guys? Oxygen can pass through a mask, and it can go both ways, right? Okay. Carbon dioxide, 2 carbons and 1 oxygen. Okay, 2 carbons and 1 oxygen. Oxygen has a higher weight, molecular mass, than carbon does. And you got carbon. It's got, 2 carbons. Wait, no, 1 carbon, 2 oxygens. Okay, so you're basically have 2 oxygen atoms with 1 carbon added to it. That's 3 atoms. Atoms can pass, and small molecules in the form of gas can pass freely into and out of a mask. All right? Okay? Viruses are made up of massive molecules. Okay? Viruses are a bunch of atoms put together to form molecules. Those molecules come together to form the virus. They tend to be smaller than bacteria, because bacteria are, cells, essentially. They tend to be smaller than bacteria, okay? But to say that gas can't pass into or out of a mask, that's blatantly dishonest. He's lying. He's flat out lying here. It doesn't restrict your oxygen. You're talking about 2 atoms attached together, passing through. You think this right here, this, look at that. Come on. I can see through this freaking mask. And this is like one of the gator ones, but I usually use one of these, okay? This is like t-shirt material. This is t-shirt material. All right, if water can pass through t-shirt material, H2O, and water is a molecule, okay? 2 hydrogens, H2O, no, 1 hydrogen, 2 oxygens, sorry. I have not had all my coffee today. And water attaches to itself because it has cohesive properties through hydrogen bonding. So you can have water pass through a frickin' mask, but you can't have 2 atoms of oxygen do that by itself. It's not even attracted to itself. Water is attracted to itself. And to be quite honest, it's harder for water to pass through this than it is oxygen. And that's kind of the point of wearing a mask, because water droplets, aerosols, those water molecules are attracted to each other. You notice when you stick your finger in a cup of water and you pull it out, it just got a drop that just hangs there. That's cohesive properties. And it also has it can also stick to surfaces as well, which is, certain surfaces, that's adhesive properties. So this is meant to keep, see, you can get air in here, but the moist breath stays in the freaking mask. If I can put this over my mouth and go like, okay guys, welcome to our coffee chat. I'm breathing just fine through here. But I can cough, I can sneeze, I can, get a lot of, the condens, like the gas, the water vapor out of my mouth, and it will form, and like right now it's wet. This is going to hold on to the water. Even though water could pass through it, it would take a lot of force, more so than a sneeze, it's going to isolate sneezing, coughing to you. It's just, Dr. B is a liar. Dr. Butt. We call Dr. Barky, Bark, whatever. We call him Dr. B. Dr. Butt is a liar here. He's flat out lying. It doesn't restrict your oxygen. That's absolutely insane. I cannot think of a material that prevents two atoms from passing through that has no intermolecular properties with anything else. Two oxygen atoms, they're happy together. They don't, I mean, it would have to be ridiculously cold for oxygen to turn into liquid. This makes me nuts. Let me catch up on the chat here. Oh, God. If he had a high school education, he'd be able to answer his questions, let alone a graduate degree and PhD. Well, that's the thing. A lot of Americans have high school educations, but they lack critical thinking skills, Nether. Buster P says, you should have him on so you both can go point by point with your... Oh, he wouldn't be on my show. See, what I would do is I'd bring him on, and I'd bring on somebody like Doc Savage, and Doc Savage would destroy him publicly. And just... I would bring Doc Savage on. Doc Savage has a PhD in biochemistry and helped generate the HPV vaccine, helped engineer that. While I'm a good force to be reckoned with, and I could handle a lot of that stuff, I would bring in Doc Savage, who has 20 plus years of industry and research background and has been cited probably 500 times now, has a Nature paper. I'd bring him on and let him have a go at Dr. Butt. But of course, I could chime in. I'd probably have to hold him back a bit. Okay. Are we talking about Molyneux? I'm sorry. Stephen Molyneux ran away. Let's see. Yeah, just because, Dr. Butt, he's not stupid. That's the thing. He knows exactly what he's doing. Oh, my goodness. Hold your breath for 5 minutes. I can't do that. Nobody's asking anybody to hold their breath for 5 minutes. Nobody's asking that, Buster. That would be terrible. We don't want that. Okay. Let me see. Catching up. How did I get 0 Mel's minions? I'm sorry, Christina. That shouldn't be correct. You should have some points. Let's see. Hello, Jericho D. How you doing? All right. Let's check this out.
Themselves, they've already done studies on the face mask, and you're breathing in the same stuff in and out, so there's actually
No, citation, Dr. Butt. There are no studies showing that you're breathing the same things in and out. There are no studies. Like, if you mean your own moisture, maybe. Your own viruses and bacteria, maybe, but they're already in you. You're not breathing the same stuff in and out. He's lying. He's blatantly lying.
The amount of bacteria that accumulates from what you're breathing, the condensation from your breath is breaking down the polypropylene components of the face mask, and then you're breathing in those toxic components.
That's not toxic components. Here's a thought. These are surgical masks that he's showing. These are surgical masks. These are the masks that doctors and nurses use when they're interacting with patients in surgery. Surgeries can last 8 hours, sometimes 12 hours. And these surgeons are wearing masks. Everybody in that operating room. How do I know this? I've been in a surgery. 8-hour surgery. I went to nursing school for a while. Actually had patients and everything. And I'm like, yeah, this is not my jam. This is not my jam. So I just decided it wasn't for me. We had to wear surgical masks the entire time. Nobody died. And those surgeons are still working doing the same thing. You're not harming yourself. There's no hazard associated with wearing something over your face.
Components in creating a histotoxic hypoxic injury.
Nope, that's wrong. Notice,
hypoxic.
Hypoxic injury. He's thrown out the sciencey words, guys. He's throwing it out. He's throwing that out there. Now he's trying to establish, I know what I'm talking about. Listen to me give out all of these science words. So we start out with the emotion. So this is, if you watch his videos, this is what he does. You start out with the emotion, then this call to action, then you've got to ask why. And so he preys on the emotion of others. That's the first thing he does. He plays on that. Then we got to ask why. This is a serious thing, and I need your help. I need your help because people are in danger. Oh my gosh, you're right. This is dangerous. Share this far and wide. Okay, we're going to share this far and wide. Okay, now, do you know those masks? You're stupid if you wear one. If you want to wear one, that's fine. Now he's punishing people. He's going to punish you and say those people who wear masks are stupid. Did you know that? This is why they're stupid. Let me throw out the sciencey words towards you, and then that way I'm going to reestablish the fact that I know what I'm talking about, and I'm saying these words to you with a very stern and you're going to die, people. You've got to stop doing this. So he's using this as a means to go through, and this is how people like this is how they do it. This is how they do it, and this is how they get away with it.
From just not being able to get in fresh oxygen, but then you also...
Fresh oxygen. Okay.
Cortisol.
What is fresh oxygen, guys? What is fresh oxygen? Oxygen is O2 gas. It's two atoms stuck together. What is fresh oxygen? There is no such thing as fresh oxygen. You might enjoy the different temperatures of the gases in the air. When you walk outside, some fresh air, and we use that term a lot. And that's something that's familiar with people. Oh, I want to get some fresh air, so I'm going to go outside. Well, you need fresh oxygen, don't you? You need fresh air. You go outside and get fresh air. Well, you've got to get fresh oxygen. There is no such thing. When they give you oxygen in the hospital, it's been in a container for who knows how long. Do you think that's fresh oxygen if it's been sitting there for like a month? In one of their stores, oh, we need another oxygen container. Oxygen doesn't go bad, guys, unless you've managed to inject some bacteria in there, maybe. Fresh oxygen. How does that work? Fresh oxygen. You breathe out CO2, and it goes through the mask. When you breathe in oxygen. See, but this is what they do. This is how they get away with it. If people in the Rocky Mountains don't drop dead, neither will you. Yes, different levels of oxygen. Yay, pseudoscience. So why would Dr. Butt say all of this stuff if he knows he's lying? What does he gain by lying? It makes me so mad. He gains money from YouTube. He gains super chats if he goes live. He gains the more people who watch his videos. He gets money from YouTube, from ad revenue. The more he shows up on TV shows, the more likely they're going to come over to his website. He has a website, guys, and you too can pay for his lectures. That's how he makes money. So that's what he has to gain from that, Buster. He can, look at Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz has written books. I have one of his books. I should really go through the owner's manual and just rip it apart. I should consider doing that because Dr. Oz is a hack. But, and then you get people like Ben Carson who make it all the way through medical school and my God, as thick as, a concrete wall, I guess. You're just like, why would you lie like this? Either he's lying or he's stupid. So I think lying is the word here, and they make money off of it. Okay, yeah, some people are claiming lower oxygen levels when wearing a mask, but they only measure the lower level on exhaled breath. Wonder why that is. That's breathing out CO2. Don't dentists use them too? Yes. Dental hygienists, dentists use them. They have them over their face, and that's to prevent them from spreading stuff to you. Because you're more likely to be infected by a dentist. Well, at the same time, right now, they can't leave a mask on you if they're cleaning your teeth. That's a transmission issue right now with a virus. But still, I mean, that's what we're looking at. This is nuts. Let's see. Gosh, man, I have given up on social with all the people saying I'm not wearing a mask. I've decided it must be natural selection. Well, that's the thing. We can kind of look at this, and he's an anti-vaxxer and a conspiracy theorist, by the way. We can look at it this way. Smoking is banned, I believe, in almost all the states inside enclosed buildings. They don't have a smoking section anymore because that smoke can come over and move to where people are. It's the same thing with the coronavirus, guys. If you have an outbreak and you have restaurants opened, somebody coughs, if they're not wearing a mask, it's going to spread out everywhere. That masks okay. I talked a little bit about this yesterday. Well, not yesterday, the day before yesterday on Nervardia's channel. This mask, okay, you have somebody who's walking through the grocery store, right? They don't have a mask on. They cough. Now, coronavirus, COVID-19, this particular strain of the coronavirus, it lives inside water droplets and inside aerosols. And aerosols are basically teeny tiny little water droplets. And viruses can live in those, okay? Now remember we said masks, they can hold on to moisture, right? They can hold on to moisture. We have clothing that does that. If you've ever been involved in sports or running or something like that, and you want to wick away your sweat, certain materials can do that. They can wick away the moisture and keep the moisture off of you. They make masks like that too. You can still breathe through it, but it collects all of the moisture where the virus would be living, okay? It cannot live outside, so long. It can live on the surface for a little while, but not terribly long. But it does hang in the air a bit because those water droplets that it lives in are so small. Can hang in the air a couple hours, okay? So if you're inside the grocery store and somebody sneezes or coughs or whatever, and they're infectious at the time, if they have an active infection, they can spray those droplets out, those teeny tiny little droplets, and the ones that have the virus can kind of hang a little bit in the air. Now, if you're inside the grocery store, what happens? You got air circulation, so you probably have it blowing around. So it can move over a couple aisles over, maybe an aisle over, maybe, maybe down the way. You might be coming across and somebody coughs, and then those little tiny droplets are going to enter your area of space, right? They can do that. I mean, they're just not stationary. It's probably better to be outside. Outside is a bit different than like indoors, but still. So if we all wear masks, it minimizes that amount of moisture that's coming out of our mouths when we cough or we sneeze. And there is actual science now associated with asymptomatic transmission. I can give you those links. We talked a bit about that, I think, on Nervardia's channel. We can talk more about that on Sunday. But that's the thing. They're not taking into consideration any of this. F1 racing teams are keeping their masks on throughout the race, crew running around on pit stops. Yes. People wear masks all day when they're working with chemicals, my goodness. Oxygen that's not been kept in a jar. Jerica, that's funny. Oh my goodness. Oxygen has a life expectancy of several trillion years, says Nether. Oh my goodness. Couldn't he make money by telling us the truth as well? I suppose so. But the truth is often painful for people, right? Why aren't people avoiding church right now? Why are people still going to church when there's an active pandemic? They don't want to think that going to the church is going to cause them to be sick. They're like, well, God's going to protect me. And a lot of people, not a lot, but there are religious people who have that mentality. And you're more likely, and I'll be honest, the drama channels tend to get a lot of views. People like things that appeal to their emotion. And so I guess if I sat here and I was like, okay, well, here's the truth. You know, there's nothing entirely juicy or dramatic about wearing a mask. People would like to think that they have the special knowledge. They have the special knowledge and they're going against the grain. But that's a lot of that appeal with conspiracy theorists and lower intelligence individuals and those who are more susceptible to BS like this. And also, people who lie like this. Look at us. I went and watched a few of his videos, so he's already made some money off of me a little bit, right? From the ad revenue. That's why I prefer to try to download them and watch them without giving him any ad revenue. That's what I try to do because I don't want him to make money off of me. But people, you know, they'll go and watch this crap even knowing it's garbage and he'll still make money because he's controversial. I mean, there's people who make entire careers out of being edgelords, right? He's an edgelord in science, I guess. Not even in science. He's just an edgelord that does crap. Yeah, Dr. Oz is a fraud. But what about my freedoms? Hey, T524, what's up? Let's listen to a bit more of this garbage, and I'll show you some more of his things.
Levels, and that drives you into the flight-fight response, which is a sympathetic mimetic overdrive, and then that suppresses your immune system. And these are all common things. These are all easily proven, published things.
No, they're not.
You don't have to be a rocket science to understand
lying.
this. I've even had people try to challenge me on that. Like, how do you know that? I'm like, seriously? You know, it's like saying, well, if I walk out in the rain without an umbrella, you're going to get wet.
Okay, so look, now he's using a lot of flat earth logic here. Okay, so now he's appealing to people saying, hey, you can see with your own eyes. It's like, there's science here. And I'm just like, no, that's not true. He's lying again. And so he's like, well, people ask me, well, how do I know that? Well, you know, I can go outside and it's raining and this sort of thing, you know. And so now it's like people who say, well, the earth is flat. I look out my window and that's what it looks like. He's using flat earth logic. So he's like, people, use your own eyes. You go outside and you look at the things and you know, this is what truth is. Well, no, it's not. This is not what truth is. So our eyes lie to us. They often lie to us. We also have a whole slew of cognitive biases that in many ways are fighting against our critical thinking. And I'll show you here in a bit what I got going on there. But yes, oh my God.
How do you know that? How can you prove that you get wet? Well, okay, if you don't know that water on top of you is going to make you wet, then everybody knows that steroids and cortisol suppress the immune system. It's a fundamental aspect of life. It's a fundamental aspect.
So he goes like, okay, so when you go outside in the rain, you're going to get wet. That's how I know. You know, you just go outside and you do this thing. And then he goes to the steroids and he starts spouting out some sciencey sounding words to, again, establish, I know what I'm talking about. I just made this brilliant analogy of you walk outside, you get wet. This is how I know this is the truth. I walk outside and I see it, and it's a thing that happens. This is how people fall for this crap.
The physiology, it's just like, how do you know that you need more oxygen? Well, because without oxygen, we die. Okay,
how do you know that you need more oxygen? Without oxygen, we die. Oh, that makes so much sense, Dr. Butt. Put anything that restricts your oxygen flow. It's not restricting your oxygen flow. But see, that's what he's using big, huge, sensationalized words here. And he's like, if you don't get oxygen, you die. So this is stopping the oxygen flow. This is causing you to be sicker. You know, and people be like, why is he trying to kill off? Why is he trying to kill off his viewers? I mean, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Why is he trying to kill off his viewers? And, we look at like Fox News, who perpetuates a lot of this garbage too. Fox News, Dr. Butt. Well, let's think about it. Let's think about this. All right. Let's compare this type of thinking to a virus, since we're talking about a virus. Okay. Look at HIV. HIV destroys the very thing that can kill it, the immune system, right? HIV can destroy the immune system. But what's the purpose? Okay, so we look at, from a scientific standpoint, the evolutionary purpose of HIV. The goal for that virus is to just multiply and spread. That's it. It kills off the host. And so scientists for a period of time are like, these types of viruses, why do they still exist when they kill off the host? I mean, evolutionary, when you're thinking of the evolutionary aspects of that, why do they exist if they kill off the host? That doesn't make sense. Well, the whole purpose is to spread, divide, and infect as many people as possible. And it can mutate, and it can change, and it can become stronger through spreading through multiple people. I mean, viruses require a living organism in order to continue existing, right? They require a living organism to do that, your cells, because it uses your cells to make copies of itself. So why do people like this, why are they willing to kill off their viewers? I mean, why are they willing to do that? Because the idea is to spread it. There will always be people who fall for this. There will always be people who fall for this. And the idea is to spread this particular propaganda. So if it kills off 4% of your population, there's still going to be other people there that are going to completely drink the Kool-Aid, So that's what it is. The idea is to expand their platform. So if some people die because of that, doesn't matter to them. There will always be a sucker born every minute, right? That's kind of the whole purpose of snake oil, huh? So there you go. Let me... Yep. Okay. Dr. Big Butt. All right, look at this. It's like
But
fun.
anything that restricts your oxygen flow is going to cause a problem.
It's
and
not.
Again, all the things that I'm talking about, like the polypropylene components of the mask and all these different things that I'm giving you and to empower you with information.
From time to time, he throws in images of doctors. Say, look. He doesn't know who these people are. This is stock footage, guys. These are not personal friends of his. He paid for the stock footage.
Know what's really happening. And that's all assuming that it was actually a benefit conferred by the mask.
Oh,
it's
God.
not. The pores are so big compared to the part.
Okay, the pores are so big. Okay, this is what's funny. He refutes his own argument right here. The pores are so big compared to the particles that they're trying to keep out. How is it restricting your oxygen then, Dr. Butt? Hello, Exhibist. How are you? Oh my goodness. The pores are so big compared to the particles that they're trying to keep out. Okay, we've already established that the virus is larger than 2 atoms, right? How is this restricting your oxygen, Dr. Butt? He refutes his own argument. But by this point, the viewer is emotionally invested in this because, oh my gosh, people can go to liquor stores but not to church. Oh, I'm listening. Let's listen to this. We got to ask why. Okay. And there's a call to action. Share this message far and wide. Okay. And now what we got to do? You need oxygen to live. Yeah, that's right. And if you restrict your air holes, with this paper thing or a cloth thing, then that means, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's not going to work. And then he comes up and says, the pores are so big, it doesn't matter, guys. So why even bother wearing the mask? It's to prevent you from spreading your crap everywhere else because it keeps your crap in. Like the water particles, those particles, it keeps it closer to your face. Okay. It's physics, okay? It's physics coupled with chemistry. So he knows. He knows it doesn't restrict your airflow because he has the ability to go, the pores are so big. Well, 2 atoms is a lot smaller than a frickin' virus, isn't it, Dr. Butts? I really need a punching bag. Oh. Dinah says, it's a balancing act. A lot of viruses aren't successful. That's true. There are some that aren't successful. I have been present for the filming of actual documentaries. Real footage of scientists looks nothing like true. I've been filmed doing research for a particular university for some of their commercials that they've done. It doesn't look. I had on a cardigan, and I was under the hood with my gloves. It wasn't anything. And they wanted colorful stuff because that looked exciting. So they filmed the waste container of my cell culture medium, which looked pink. Yeah, polypropylene is one of the most harmless polymers. It's not a great argument. I know, right? That's right, Exibus. Oh, my God. Lord.
Particles that they're trying to keep out. As I've said before, it's like building a chain link fence and trying to keep dust particles out.
Okay. So he understands the concept, so he's not stupid. He knows that you can breathe through the mask. He knows that, but he's lying anyway. He's lying anyway. It doesn't matter. Liar.
It doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work.
Look at that.
And then people are trying to say, well, for the particulate matter and from breathing aspect, guys, you're increasing your own susceptibility when you wear a mask to every pathogen that's out there, virus, bacteria.
What? No, that's not how any of this works. You're not increasing your susceptibility to any pathogens. You are reducing your risk of contracting COVID-19 and other, particles, but it's not much. The idea, if everybody wore a mask, transmission would drop by less than 2%.
Your spirochetes, mycoplasma, yeast, fungi, parasites, whatever,
okay.
You are increasing.
So now he's throwing out sciencey words again. He's like, see, I know what I'm talking about. Listen to me.
Increasing your own susceptibility.
No, you're not.
Wear a mask. You're stressing your body out.
You're not stressing your body out. There's nothing. He's just blatantly lying right now.
Making your body weaker. You're making yourself hypoxic. You are more susceptible.
No, he's using the same words again. The same words over and over and over again. God, this guy is just garbage. Let's see. I got to jump ahead. I can't.
Freedom to do whatever you want. You want to take a vaccine? Go. Hey, all
now
the power
he's saying,
to you. Take my word for it. If what I'm saying does not appeal to your intellect, if it doesn't resonate with you, hey, then go wear the face mask. I've never said anybody shouldn't wear the face mask if they don't want to wear the face mask. If you want to wear the face mask, all the power to you.
So now he's like, if you want to be stupid and wear a face mask, that's fine, but I'm not going to do it. I would run away from this man because he's probably a huge germ carrier because he's an osteopath, which means he probably doesn't really prescribe any medications, but he's going to touchy grabby people. Let me squeeze your leg and we're going to get rid of that toe knee thing you got going on there. You got a little bit of that, it looks like you got a little bit of this over here with your arm. So let me squeeze on that. You got an infection. Let's twist your arm a little bit, give you a Hertz donut, and that's going to make that infection go right away because that's going to increase the blood supply to your veins. And then he throws out sciencey words. None of it works, but whatever.
Just don't expect me to wear it, and don't impose your idiocy on other people.
Impose your idiocy on idiocy. So now he's making the viewers feel smart for not wearing a mask. So these all kind of, I'm just, God, this guy. I'm just I don't want to look at him anymore. But this is what they do. This is what they do. And that's how they get away with it. They appeal to the emotion. They draw you in. And it's just... And once you figure out once you figure out what their game is and what the pattern is, you will see this across the board on every single charlatan and grifter that does this sort of thing. You'll see it. It's there. It's there. You don't get single viruses floating around trying to get through your mask. They are attached to the water droplets and each other. That's right. You know, they are attached to the water droplets. Water has hydrogen bonding, so it sticks together. Wearing a mask reduces your risk of contracting the virus, but but not by much. But if everybody wore a mask, it would drop down to about 1.5% transmission if everybody just wore a mask. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, the oxygen is the dust particle and the virus is the tennis ball. The chain link fence is efficient at stopping tennis balls, at least from leaving, right? Yeah, Dr. Butt is making me nuts. People still alive wearing masks from 1918. Oh my goodness. But my freedom. All right. I just want to, because I've put this up before. If you haven't checked out, let me, all right, here we go. If you haven't checked out this particular episode of my show, I did do an episode on cognitive bias at the beginning of the year. And I go through the different types of biases. So let's kind of, as a review, we're going to go back through some of these. And I'm just going to give you a list again. And, you know, we can kind of get an idea here. Which viruses. See? Words, guys. Words are hard sometimes. Which biases are effective here? And these are the 20 cognitive biases, the most common cognitive biases that we see. Availability heuristic, that's one that Dr. Butt uses a lot. You know, essentially an example of that would be, well, my dad smoked for 20 years and he never got cancer, therefore I won't get cancer if I smoke too. That's availability heuristic, putting too much importance on certain information. It's useful, but it's anecdotal. It's not, you know, 100% effective. And a lot of these grifters will use availability heuristic, particularly if they're doctors, you know, and they'll sit, and of course they earned their degrees. They did earn their degrees, so I'm not downplaying that, but they're using that as a means to grift and hurt people. Confirmation bias. That's where people will cherry pick what suits and effectively meets their bias. So the whole thing about, oh, well, they're allowed to go to liquor stores, but not church, that's cherry picking. That's confirming somebody else's bias, you know, in saying, well, you know, if they're allowed to do that, I should be allowed to do that too. You're right. And so he's playing to that. Overconfidence, also known as Dunning-Kruger. Selective perception, that's another thing. You're always going to view the other, if you're at a football game, you're going to pay attention to the referees when they make calls on the team that you don't like. And so he utilizes a lot of selective perception here. Blind spot bias. Basically saying I don't have a bias is a form of bias. Oh gosh, he just bandwagon effect. The more people who believe a thing, the more likely it's perceived to be true. That's another thing that they use here. We have the anti-vaxxer movement because of that. Thank you, Daily Mail and the media, for, you know, perpetuating that. We have more flat earthers than before because of the fact more people are talking about it. Therefore, you know, hey, they're putting them on the same level. It's like, well, you know, should we question the shape of the earth? No. Nobody's on a show saying crocodiles are actually ducks. Nobody's saying that. So if there was a whole movement of people saying, oh, crocodiles are actually ducks. I mean, Come on. Come on. So we're giving anti-science a lot of platform. So choice supportive bias is bias. Why is I keep wanting to say that? It's bias. So choice supportive bias is another thing. The outcome may be different. You might be like, okay, I didn't wear a mask at all. You know, I haven't gotten COVID-19. I haven't gotten sick. Therefore, wearing a mask doesn't prevent me from getting sick. I can walk around and not wear a mask. The outcome, where you think your choices, even though the outcome is positive, you think your choices were good choices to give that outcome. That's choice supportive bias. So this is what they're doing here. So this is a common tactic. So if you haven't checked this out, I do have that. I also have a series. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. I have something called my cognitive bias series. And these are just 1-minute videos. And these 1-minute videos go through in their music. There's words on cards and stuff. Let me see. Here's bandwagon bias. This is kind of fun. So let's kind of have a look at this and pull this up. But this is on my playlist on my YouTube channel. So let's have a gander at bandwagon bias. And all right, so that entire series is available to you on youtube.com/ScientistMel. You can go through, and they're just little 1-minute videos, and it hits all of those cognitive biases that I've shown you. You know, kind of jazzy music. May not be for everyone. Not everyone would like that format. So if you prefer the more instructional way, you can check out the live stream, or you know, have a look at that. Alrighty, so okay, so let me catch up on the chat. Hello, Ghostly Enigma and Dawn. How are you doing? Trying to get a better mask for work, as over the years I've become allergic to the organic vapors the logs give off. So you people like that are full of BS. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. You know, bangs head against the wall, Michael. Oh my God. Ray Comfort would say that, Scientist Mel. Probably. Wait, you say he's an osteopath? How does he still keep his license of practice? I have no idea. Yes, you should question, but also listen to and check the answers. This is true. Bias is a virus. That's fair, I guess. You know, Dinah. People who don't believe in science are truly sad. Okay. Science is not a bandwagon. No, but bandwagon bias is a thing. It's bandwagon effect. Oh my goodness. That's a ripping baritone sax. Yes, so I've made those through a particular app, and from time to time, it's just like I get pinged on different things. But let's pick apart one more video of his. Even though this is increasingly painful to have to sit through this garbage. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's look at, which one do we want to do? Why did the media not talk about this? That's from Dr. Butt. Or should we talk about They will ban this immediately. Urgent. Please share now. I mean, so it's like, oh my gosh. Okay. I guess we can pick on one of those. All right. So let's see. Let's see. They will ban this immediately. What about that? Does that make... Yeah. Where is that? Okay, here. Let's give this a go, shall we?
This doesn't get rectified and gets rectified in the very, very near future within the next few weeks.
AdvancedMedicine.com.
Our world, and when I say our world, I'm not just talking about where I live or where you live, but our world, our planet is going to be a different place. They will be sicker. They will be controlled.
There we go. Look at that title. They will ban this immediately. And now he's again starting with playing on the emotions of people. If you don't do this, they're going to cause you so much harm.
They will not have any privacy.
No
they will
privacy.
not have any future.
No future?
I want to make sure the world understands where the problem lies.
Where's the problem? It's at your mouth. That's where the lies are.
The danger is not what's in front of you. The
not in
danger
front of
is
you.
what you're being distracted
What are you
from.
being distracted from?
The only
my
way
goodness.
that you can control people is by keeping them in ignorance.
Yes.
But as soon as a person becomes empowered...
See? The irony is not lost here. You keep the people in ignorance. They don't want you to know the truth. I will tell you the truth. We're going to empower you with knowledge, with the completely wrong information. And so now here comes the call to action that I'm talking about. You got it. You're questioning why. And guess what? I'm going to help you. Listen to these baddies.
with knowledge, the one thing is that nobody can control you once you are aware.
Once the wool of the round earth is pulled from your eyes and you walk outside and you see the earth is flat, then you know. They can't control you anymore.
The world
Wake
has to wake
up
up and understand that what's happening right now is an illusion, and it's going to mandate other things coming down.
Everything's an illusion. Everybody's lying to you. It's a huge, huge conspiracy, guys.
Which is include RF chips.
RF chips. Oh, we're getting to the RF chips and vaccines, guys. That's where we're going. I haven't fully watched this video yet. I kind of wanted to share it with you. Let me catch up on the chat. Oh my gosh. We're getting to the RF chips and the vaccines. Okay, Exhibis. Good question. Mel, what do you do when you're caught up with a bias towards the wrong hypothesis while doing research? That's the thing. That's where we get into instrumentation. The more instruments that you use and the more experiments that you do from different instruments. My background's analytical chemistry. So when we were generating our breast cancer test, we had microscopy. We had fluorescent microscopy. We also had dark field microscopy. We had a Raman spec. We had a UV vis. We also had scanning electron microscopes. So we had 5 different instruments to help us confirm that our hypothesis was correct. And your hypothesis changes while you're doing research. And it changes when these don't match up. Right? When these other instruments and these other experiments don't match up, then you got to figure out why is it not matching up. And you get other eyes, your lab partners or your lab mates or something, your primary investigator. You get other eyes on it and you bring your minds together and you kind of look at that. But multiple experiments from different instrumentation to show that one thing causes another thing to happen. That's essentially the breakdown of that. That's how you kind of overcome that. All right. I'm now awoken. Wake up! It's the Matrix director's scope. I don't think that this is a PragerU guy. The PragerU guy we're going to talk about tomorrow with Nervardia. That's Dr. Barkey or Dr. Bark, Dr. B. This is Dr. Butt. Dr. Butter, I guess. I'll just call him Dr. Butt. But we're going to get in the RF chips and the vaccines.
Everybody's going to have mandated
there we go.
vaccinations so that they can track those people and know who's been vaccinated, who's not been vaccinated.
They're going to put RF chips in your vaccines, guys, and they're going to track you that way. That's a lot of freaking money, guys, for real. That's a lot of money to do that. So they want to track you. I don't understand. I don't understand that. Okay.
Stanford came out with a study a couple days ago. The Stanford study said this shows that the rate of death from...
Okay, here we go. The rate of death from COVID-19 is no different from influenza. Oh my God. Okay, all right. We have got to stop comparing COVID-19 to the flu. They're two completely different things. They're not both. Only COVID-19 is a coronavirus. The flu is not. Okay, we have a vaccine for the flu. We constantly have to change all the time because it's constantly evolving, right? Okay, it's not the same. And if we didn't have a vaccine, the deaths would be much higher. And it's not just the flu. It's the stuff that comes along with the flu that kills you. So people get the flu and then they get pneumonia. And that's what kills them. Okay? So, this is not the same. And we don't have a vaccine for this. And the thing is when they were talking about that Stanford information, or when we're saying, well, it's not the same amount, that was before we are getting 70,000 infections in a day, okay? And plus, when you think about the death of the flu, it's spread out over a year, not a month, not 2 months, not 3 months. It's spread out over a freaking year, okay? It's not the same, and this makes me nuts when they go through this. All right.
COVID-19 is no different from influenza. That's what the
study
showed.
It is different.
You know what mainstream reported? That the study showed this is more rampant than anywhere else on the planet. This is more rampant than we thought. Well, of course it is. I think the entire population of the world has been exposed to it. But they didn't focus on that part of it. They just...
Yes, they are focusing on that part of it, but they're also focusing on the fact that a lot of countries are able to reopen because of the fact that they did social distancing. They had a proper lockdown. People actually adhered to the guidelines, and they don't have the cases we do now. So this guy makes me mad. But notice the whole point. What's the whole point? He follows the same pattern every single time. Every single time. And once you see the equation here, once you see the equation of what he's doing, you can see right through it. Emotional appeal, sensationalized headlines. You know that's bad science. Sensationalized headlines. All of these different things. He's appealing to people's emotions first. Then he draws them in. Then he has a call to action. Then he's like, I'm going to give you what you need in order to get through this. They're not telling you the truth, so you need to listen because this is important. It's going to save your life when actually it's going to kill them. But, he's putting that type of emotive emphasis on it. Then he throws out sciencey words to reestablish that he's an expert. And then he breaks it down to basic easy to understand words. You walk outside, it rains, you get wet, that makes sense. I look outside my window, the earth is flat, makes sense. So he's using a lot of things that are within people's faculties to be able to relate to and understand, this medical doctor is making a lot of sense to me. So this makes me smart too. So I'm smart for doing what he says and everybody else is stupid. And so that puts them in a position to where they get to be better than all the other people that they thought were better than them. So that also plays on that type of perception. And so that's what they do. They get special knowledge that makes them part of a super elite group. I listen to Dr. Butt. So, he says all these things and he tells me I'm smart for doing stuff that he says, and he's right. All these other people are sheep. That's how he does it. And they don't see it. They don't see through that. But that's his population, and that's how he gets to them. So it's pretty crazy. Don't do what they tell you. Don't do these things. And you're just like, dude, like for real. My goodness. Catching up on the chat. It's just the flu. Oh, God. No, it's not, man. I'm telling you, Michael, it's nuts. Ah. He's never used that. You need a close proximity to trigger an RF chip response. Yes, for real. Like, how are you going to do that? Yes, it has killed more people than the worst flu of the last 20 years and did annually in 6 months in spite of worldwide drastic measure. You're right, Nether. I mean, it's just like, can we just rip out the larynx of anyone who says that? That's not nice, Megalite Master. Yeah, I don't condone violence, but there are some people like Dr. Barkey or Dr. B and Dr. Butthead here, Dr. Butter, I don't know, Butar, I don't know how to say his name, or Dr. Barkey's. I'm sorry. Now, you know what? I kind of am not sorry because they're spouting out garbage, but I am sorry because I really do need to at least have some respect for people's names. But it's very hard when they're actively hurting people and increasing the risk of death for others, like Dr. Barkey and Dr. Butter, Butar. I don't know. Dr. Butt and Dr. B I don't necessarily condone violence, but they do make me very punchy. I really want to punch things. So, yeah. Hi, Hemp Hill. How are you? Man, I'm catching up on the chat. Blood clots in multiple organs. Yes. Yeah, there was something that just came out just a couple days ago, I believe, 1 or 2 days ago, about autopsies of COVID-19 patients are showing blood clots in multiple organs. You're correct. And we're also finding out there's also other effects for asymptomatic people. We're showing, and I discussed this a bit on Nervardia's channel. If you hadn't checked that particular live stream out, it was a couple days ago. I think Amiga Nuts put the link in the chat at one point. I did too. But this type of virus, and the way that viruses enter into cells is through receptor interaction. So cells have like little antennae that stick out of it. And those antennae can be fired off by interacting with them. And so certain things will fit into those antennae. So viruses, they can attach to those receptors, those certain antennae of your cells, and that allows them entry into the cells. And so then they're able to hijack the ribosomes and make copies of the virus, and basically has all the genetic code in there and the different proteins that make you sick. That's how they do it. That's how they enter into cells. So it's kind of like a lock and a key. And so the virus has the key to get into that lock, that receptor, that antenna. Well, COVID-19, they're finding out, that's its way of getting into the cells, that receptor that it attaches to, come to find out, it's on pretty much every cell in your body, just about. It's in kidneys, all your organs, all the linings, the epithelial linings of things like your lungs, so that little lining that you have on the outside. And so what happens is it's able to infect multiple parts of your body. Your GI tract, you got linings there. All of your organs have linings around them for protection. And so asymptomatic people actually have lung scar tissue, even though they didn't have any symptoms, because of the damage that's been done to, and they're finding other organ issues, neurological issues. And so these blood clots that they're finding, well, anytime you have an infection, you have a increased amount of blood going to an area. And so people who have, and what they're finding out with this, people who have hypersensitivity or a hypersensitive immune system, they have a strong response to this virus. And the more blood that enters a thing, the more likely you are to have a clotting effect. We're seeing strokes. We're seeing all kinds of different things like that from individuals because of this. So it's nasty. It's a nasty virus. And you may not have any pre-existing conditions. I have allergies. My sister has an autoimmune disease, so if she gets it, it'll kill her. Me, I have allergies, and so I may very well have a hypersensitive immune system. I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to really risk that. If my body is going to respond to pollen, thinking that that's an invader, might do this similar with a virus or, another infection, or a virus that attacks multiple parts of your body might do similar. And so I don't want to risk that. Yeah. Oh, he's losing business. Exhibit says he's losing business due to lockdown. That's why he's lying, possibly. Oh, thank you again for posting the link, Amiga Nuts. Are you following the research on D614G? I haven't. So if you send me that if you have that. How does COVID-19 compare to the 19 pandemic in terms of morbidity and mortality transmission mechanism? I'm not certain because I haven't really studied that particular, and that was a flu. So I don't know. I imagine the transmission mechanism might be similar, but the mode of infection would be different. So I would think that would be different. So yeah, let's see. And if you're curious, by all means, guys, check out Dr. Butt. He's on Twitter. We'll have to see how that pans out. But tomorrow, do come back 7 p.m. Central. Nervardia will be on here, and we will be ripping apart the second half of that PragerU video. And if you're curious about more of the information on, how it is that people get away with that sort of thing, you can check out my website, ScientistMel.com. Under articles, I have science, communication, language, and perception. I've got links to all of the studies associated with that in the hyperlinks. And I go into detail what you can do when you're communicating. Choose your words and mode of delivery carefully. And so how can we as people of sound mind and intelligence and not jumping full on in the vat of conspiracy, communicate? How can we communicate? Well, we can take a lesson from Dr. Butt here, and we could use the same formula he does. I kind of feel like, I feel like that might be dirty, maybe a little bit unethical, but maybe I need to modify my mode of delivery for that. But then I would probably lose credibility to a degree amongst my peers for using such a method. So it's a tight line, tight walk type of situation where it's a balancing act. Larry Sumner's was fired from his position as his choice of words and bias came through in a speech he delivered. There's a link to that. Online tests to help find out what your bias is. Speak with authority, but in simplistic terms. That's something you can do, and you can take a note from Dr. Butt there. Speak with authority, but use simple language. That's one thing you can do. Remove yourself as a threat to a person's belief system. Now, Dr. Butt dives in totally and utilizes confirmation bias, uses that bias against people. But removing yourself as a threat to a person's belief system. If you address the elephant in the room and say, hey, look, I'm not going to hurt you, and you allow them a space to where they can believe what they want to believe, just so you can get the correct information across. What's the goal here? Are you trying, what are you trying to do? And so know when to walk away. That's another thing. Sometimes you've got to walk away and let a person marinate on those ideas and leave the discussion before it escalates. Because again, what's your goal? Your goal, is it to get across the correct information? If it's to fight and make somebody angry, well, that's something else. But if you're trying to perpetuate the correct information in order to help other people, You do need to know when to walk. And I walk away all the time from stuff on Twitter. I'm just like, yeah, no, not going there. That looks like bait. And so I'm just like, nope. You know what? If you need help, message me. I've got to go for now. It's nice talking with you. I hope you sort things out, you know. So yeah, so I go into a lot of this detail because, you know, this is why I don't fight with people on the internet. It's not helpful. And it doesn't, you know, do anything. So what is the goal of what I do in presenting information? So that's how your engagement's going to be influenced. Are others more likely to come for you for information, or are you alienating people who would have seen you as an accessible authority to answer their questions respectfully? I don't recognize Dr. Budd as an authority in anything. So I wouldn't ask him questions, if for nothing else, for the opportunity to destroy his argument. But I don't have to give him a platform to do that. You know what I mean? And people are like, well, you should have him on here so you can point back. No, if I have him on my channel, I lose credibility because I'm giving him a space to talk. And I'm perpetuating what he needs. He's a virus. He wants to spread his information. This is why Stefan Molyneux would not get in a room with me, because his target was my fan base. And I didn't have enough of a fan base for him to influence. And that's what it came down to. And that's why he's like, no, get a little bigger, grow a little more, and we'll talk. No. He wants access to a fan base because, again, virus, the whole point is to spread, right? So challenges the practice of a large company is not the same as challenging John Doe on Twitter with 25 subscribers looking for a fight and someone to listen to him. That's a bit different. And so, yeah, so I go through that on these, and I write extensively about stuff like this because it's important, you know, what is the goal of your interaction? So this is why I don't fight on the internet. This is why when people make drama videos about me, I don't acknowledge them because they're just going to say whatever they want to say. And, you know, that's how they get their money. They do the same things Dr. Butt does when they make videos about me. They draw you in, and then they elicit, you know, this emotional, like, oh, well, you like Scientist Mel. Well, let me tell you about her darker side. And you're like, okay, sure. I'm a supervillain according to a lot of people, and there's apparently I have generals, and you know, we got a baying mob. I have a cult following in white knights, and you know, so I'm trying to sort out all the armor and uniforms. I think we need uniforms. You know, so I've apparently reached a supervillain status for some people, but you know, hey, I think, well, why not? Why not? But that's why I don't do that sort of thing, because there's no point. There's no point. People are gonna. It's none of my business what people think of me. Kind of default to the Anthony Hopkins idea of things. None of my business what people think of me. I am who I am. I do what I do. It makes life so much simpler. You know, somebody wants to listen, great. If they don't want to listen, that's okay too. It makes no difference to me one way or another. I just want to be a person who's accessible for individuals who want correct information and know that they can ask me questions without me making them feel bad, you know? Alrighty. Let's see. Would the hyperactive immune system be someone that is gluten, soy allergic? I'm not certain, Ghostly Enigma. And honestly, when I say that, I don't have definitive studies to show that, but there are individual case studies that show people who have a hyperactive immune system or have a strong, I don't even know if they have a hyperactive immune system, but if they have a strong immune response, that's where the more severe cases of COVID come from, is a strong immune response to that, from what we've seen in a case, in different cases. But I don't know what the factors are or what those people's, if they had allergies. I'm just making that choice for myself because I'm not certain, and I know my family history. And we all have allergies, and my sister has autoimmune disease. And since I know my family medical history, and I know I have allergies, I don't know how I would respond to something like that. I don't know if I would have a strong immune response, but given I respond that way in allergies, I'm kind of like, well, don't really want to run that risk. It may not be anything. Maybe having allergies makes me less prone. We don't have that information. But knowing what I know about my family history, the incidence of stroke, heart problems, rheumatoid arthritis is a thing. My sister has she has something that walks the lines of lupus. I'm like, I don't want to put it at risk. So there you go. I hope that answers that. I'm doing a good job. Thank you, Dawn. Let's see. I am on Twitter, Exhibist, Scientist Mel. You can find me there. You can ask me questions. Send me a message about Raman speck and cancer cells. I worked in nanoparticle tech. And so we use nanoparticles, and that's what we were detecting with the Raman speck, was the presence of binding between the nanoparticles and the cancer's exosomes, not even the cells, the packages they sent. Alrighty. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, arguments from authority carry little weight. Authorities have made mistakes in the past. They will do so again in the future. Yes, Carl Sagan said that, and I think it was right. You're right. But to establish that you need to, but for the average person who's not scientifically literate, they need to be able to establish that you know what you're talking about. Does it come with pay? Hello, Pine Snake. If so, how do I apply to be one of Mel's white knights? I don't know. I've been accused of asking people to fight my battles for me, but I'm like, have you seen any of the live streams I've been on, like with the Geek Room, where I've completely destroyed another person for perpetuating harmful ideologies? Tommy Hall is one of them. Another one is a call for uprising. He was being very transphobic in a particular live stream, and the Geek Room pulled me in, and I just ripped him apart. I don't ask people to fight my battles for me. But if you're on a public forum and you say awful stuff to me and other people see it, it's not like YouTube where I can delete comments. But if it's on Twitter and somebody's like, oh, hey, somebody's being really sexist to Mel, I have something to say about that. It's not my job to police other people and what they say. I might go, hey, if I'm initiating a discussion, I'm like, hey, let's talk about this, and people start getting rude, I'm like, let's kind of keep it civil a little bit if you don't mind, if it's, but somebody says something horrible to me online or awful or abusive, other people jump in on that, because on Twitter it's a public forum. I can't delete other people's comments. That would be me censoring them. Now, my YouTube page, my website, I try to perpetuate a place where there's not any kind of abusive discussions. I don't like people being abusive to you. So that's where I can maintain control. But something like, Twitter, that's ironically, it was like, you have white knights. And I've had people ask me, do you want me to handle this situation for you, dudes? And I've been like, yeah, no thanks, it's okay, just let it die, it's not worth it. And they'll be like, I can take care of this. And I'm like, no, dude, it's fine, chill. If somebody comes to me and asks me, do you want me to do this? I don't actively go around asking people to do stuff, unless there's something that's like walks the line of illegal and I need like advice. Then I go to a professional for that. But yeah, there you go. Let's see. Alrighty. Cool. Thank you, Amiga Nuts. Alright. People should defend and jump in, not rely of deleting, etc. Says Cranwise Urban Homestead. Well, I mean, yeah, but yeah, at the same time, if you don't want people to respond to you, don't be on a public forum or private your social media or something like that. But if you're going to be hateful to somebody on the internet and it's a public forum, and then you get upset and say, well, Mel's followers attacked me. Well, you said a lot of garbage. Am I just supposed to go, hey people, don't respond to this terrible comment made about me? I mean, how does that work? it's not my responsibility to police other people's talking. Now, if they say something that I think is particularly horrible, and I might be like, hey, you know, dude, that's kind of racist. And if they're one of my followers or supporters or something, I might just kind of pull aside and like, dude, this is a little bit racist. What you said here, a little bit sexist. You might want to kind of rethink this, just to let you know, you know. So, no, and I'm not the ruler of others, and that's okay. And I also don't have, you know, I don't push hateful behavior either, and I don't ask people to behave poorly either. So that's the other thing. We try to be kind. Alrighty. So I'm gonna end with Mr. Rogers, and it's like 2 hours, guys. Yeah, we're all in the public. That's right. We all see things. We, you know, and we respond or we don't respond. You know, if you see somebody say something hateful to me, it's okay if you don't respond. I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm not going to go through all my list of Twitter followers and go, hey guys, why didn't you do something about this? I thought you guys were my Twitter supporter. And you're like, why would I do that? That's just, and I'm not going to expect you to do so. And I'm not going to, you know. Okay. Yeah, anyway. All right, let's just, I like Mr. Rogers. I read from this book, The World According to Mr. Rogers. We need more Mr. Rogers in the world. All right. All right, so here we go. Here we go. This is Understanding Love. So I just happened to open it, guys. Understanding love. When we love a person, we accept him or her exactly as is. The lovely with the unlovely, the strong along with the fearful, the true mixed in with the facade. And of course, the only way we can do it is by accepting ourselves that way. Loving yourself just as you are makes it easier to love other people just as they are. So when we love a person, we accept him or her exactly as is. The lovely with the unlovely, the strong along with the fearful, the true mixed in with the facade. And of course, the only way we can do it is by accepting ourselves that way. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. I got my Mr. Rogers Funko Pop back there, given to me by Tatted Atheist from the Geek Room. I think that was for my birthday, so that was really nice. So there you go. Yeah. Try to accept yourself as you are, and that'll make loving other people as they are easy too. And we need a lot more understanding and acceptance of each other for our differences. And you can't love a person in pieces. You can't care about a person in pieces. You have to accept the whole package as they are and try to be supportive in the ways that you can, you know. Alrighty. So, gonna say, you always make each day special for me. You know how? By just your being you. Thank you for being on the show today, for coming by and chatting with me and talking about Dr. Butt. Gosh, what a hot mess he is. Anyway, and you can follow me on twitter.com/ScientistMel. Check out my shop, scientistmel.com/shop. I'm trying to add new merchandise, but the warehouse people who do that, I'm trying to add new designs. They're not letting me because they're overwhelmed. So we'll see about that. And you can follow me on facebook.com/ScientistMel. You can just hit me up anywhere, and I'll do what I can to help you out. And come back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central, have Nervardia, and we'll talk about PragerU, and Dr. B, Dr. Barkey, and all of his horribleness. So, sending squishy science hugs. I'll see you next time. Bye!